And hello again, everybody. Welcome to the Cosmic Gas Station. I am Charlie Thomas.
And I am Billy Eli.
And if you don't know us, we basically don't have anything in particular we talk about. We just talk about whatever tickles our fancy, which is almost always baseball, music, and weird shit.
Yeah, you know, I would be okay with cutting it just to weird shit, but here's the thing, there's no way I'd ever be able to pare it down. I love the internet, man. You know,
The
just
internet is the internet is full of weird shit, but not necessarily always every week.
right. Well, yeah, no, it's like anything else. It cycles. And me and you are both fans of the Weekly World News.
It is the world's leading news source.
Well, and there's a reason for that. I mean, they give you the hard hitting stories, like Bat Boy and family of
Bat, Bat,
mermaids found living in a toilet tank and shit like that.
Bat Boy is living it up in Germany right now, according to the Weekly World News.
Oh yeah. Oh, he died recently and came back to life, right?
That happens to all of us.
Yeah. Usually sometime between Friday and Tuesday. Uh, hey man, let's, let's jump into baseball. As I was saying right before uh, we we logged in, and anybody that's caught any episodes know that my two teams are my National League team is the Mets. My American League team is Kansas City Royals. Both those teams started this season with really high expectations. Both of them just shit the fucking bed, man. But man, there is a bright side. Kinda. There's a glimmer. The Royals have beaten Detroit the last 2 days. They're on a 7-game winning streak. It defies anything anybody knows about baseball, And the Mets, they're like 15 out of their last 20, and they beat they put up 10 against the White Sox yesterday.
Yeah, I was watching that game because I watch the Mets are my team. They're my ride or die. I watch them every day, no matter how bad it is for my health. And it's pretty bad for the health. I'm not
No,
gonna
you're
sugarcoat
batshit
it.
crazy, and I blame that entirely on the Mets.
It was yesterday's game was a lot of hitting, really awful pitching. It was an ugly game. Um, it was a lot of cheese left hanging over the plate, and batters on both sides were just taking advantage of it. Lots of walks,
It's like batting
lots of
practice, man.
yeah. It was an ugly, ugly game that uh, the Mets just sort of, I don't want to say dominated, because they kept letting the White Sox back into it.
Yeah, but they
And
put up 10, man. I mean that even against bad pitching, that's tough. Yeah, we have a possible rabid animal alert happening here. It was on the town Facebook page. And last night, man, I was in a bar. I was in Luthier's across the street, and I was having a beer, and I was talking to this fellow named Connor, who had been out hiking yesterday on Mount Tom, and his dog was attacked by a raccoon that was rabid, and I said, man, he had filmed it. He had filmed it on his phone, and uh, I get that. That's kind of cool, but his dog's like a Newfoundland or something. I mean, it's like the size of a fucking Shetland pony. And he wasn't carrying a walking stick or anything, man. So he's just kicking the raccoon and trying to get it away from his dog and hoping like hell that the raccoon don't bite him, and his dog got bit up in the on the lip, and I said, well, the responsible pet owners here. This isn't like rural Texas, so I said, your dog been vaccinated? He said, yeah, but he took it back into the vet and they gave it a booster and stitched the cuts up. But then today to see another report of a possible rabid woodchuck just a few blocks from my house. So we've had heavy bear activity this year, and now we're possibly looking at a rabies outbreak.
And I always thought Massachusetts was kind of laid back.
Well, I mean, except for the bears and the rabid animals, I mean, it mostly is. But I mean, everything, has got its ups and downs. But hey, I sent you an article. I think yesterday, and talking about the potential lockout for baseball next year. But it was the thing about the owners and why they don't care if they win.
There are a lot of owners who I watched that. There are a lot of owners who are just content to field a subpar team and rake in the revenue sharing from television and.
Well, this kind of goes back to the topic we were talking about last week with and I had asked, the way things are going, it's looking like Jerry Jones was the prototype of this new kind of owner that they don't fucking care if they win or not, man. They're making billions with their teams regardless.
You see, here's where I think there's a difference. Jerry Jones actually cares about winning. He no longer knows how. And
right. If he ever did.
He knew enough to listen to Jimmy Johnson
for
30 years ago.
4 seasons or 5,
yep.
Whatever it was.
And then Jimmy left, and he brought in Barry Switzer, and Barry Switzer basically did what Jerry told him, but had enough left over of Jerry's team of Jimmy's team to.
Right. A friend of mine that was a Cowboys fan used to say, "Yeah, that Switzer team, the year or 2 years after it was still Jimmy Johnson's team," and he said, "Man, they weren't going to lose. They were afraid Jimmy Jones would come back." Man, that was, and go to cutting them, but that article, that clip that I sent you, that seemed to that did seem to reinforce that thing we were talking about. And the NFL guys we were talking about last week, a lot of their, like you just said, Jerry Jones would like to win. He just doesn't know how. Like you do. We ended up having a late jam session in the alley, and it was, yeah. I had only had a few beers up to that point, and then I had a few more, but I had a bottle of Milagro here, and I thought, well, it's just sitting in the freezer. But here's my take on the baseball, on getting back to baseball and my teams and the Royals, man, who, in my opinion, desperately need to fire their fucking coach, their manager, man. He needs to go. The Mets, they got rid of Mindy, about a month and a half?
More than that. Like, May, I think. May or June.
Man, I felt bad for him. I didn't think he deserved that. I thought the front office screwed him, but...
The front office definitely screwed the pooch there.
But with the Royals, they got the pieces, man. The players are there. They have not been able to sync up their offense with their pitching. When the pitching was good, they couldn't hit the damn floor with their hat. And then and now the offense is putting some runs up on the board, and the bullpen can't close an umbrella. And it's injuries. I think that's a manager misusing the pen, and I desperately think he needs to be let go at the end of the season. And me and my friend Dale, who is a Royals fan, and we usually chat during the games. Man, we're texting each other, and I had mentioned to him back a couple months ago when they were just stinking out the joint. I said, "You watch, right at the end of the season, when it doesn't make any difference at all, they'll figure out some way to go on a little run at the end of the season and win up around 70 games, and they'll save his damn job." And that's what he was saying yesterday. He said, "Man, as a fan, I'm happy for the 7-game winning streak. I love it that they're winning, even if it's meaningless for the season. But you called it, man. They're not gonna shit can him now, because they're gonna look at last month of the season and go, oh, but they were improving. And if if his pitching hadn't been worn out, we'd have been in the hunt. And that's bullshit. We were out of it 2 months ago. But and again, like we say down in Texas, man, right? But if frogs carried pistols, snakes wouldn't eat them, man. That's
I have never heard that saying. I understand it. It makes perfect sense. But I've never heard that saying. There's been a wide disparity between good teams in baseball this year and bad teams. With a vast middle of just sheer mediocrity.
That was the thing that I was going to point out, man. It's not out there on the ends where where you're great, or you just you're the Angels, and but there's so much in the middle that it's just like, just not. I mean, it's just mediocre.
The AL West has
Oh God.
no teams over 500. Exactly one
man.
team. Exactly one team at 500, and it might be that 80 and 82 wins that division. Because I don't know if they can.
It's mind-boggling, isn't it?
And on the other hand, right, the Brewers just are the first team past 80 wins. They clinched a 500 season already. Not that they're going to lose.
How far back are the Tampa Bay?
Oh, Tampa they're leading the AL East by 5 games, I think.
Yeah, I knew they were at the division, but they're not to 80 games yet, right?
One sec. Tampa is 76 and 53 with a 3-game lead over the Yankees.
And the Red Sox are making a run.
Red Sox are 70 and 59, 6 back of Tampa, but well ahead, safely locked into the number 2 wild card spot.
Right. Yeah.
There's like a 5-game lead over whoever is number 3.
And I don't really watch the Red Sox games, but I can get up on what the team's doing just by walking down the sevens and having a beer, man, because I'm in Massachusetts.
For those who don't know, Billy lives in a town with, I think there are 5 bars on your street.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So you've got Luthier's, which is directly across from your house. Directly across from your house.
Door right now.
That is a combination guitar store bar. You've got the combination art supply store bar.
I got that one, yeah.
You've got the sports bar at the other end of the street.
Right.
You've got I think the Mexican place has a bar.
It does, as does the Italian place.
So you could, hit You could do an entire bar crawl with Billy. That should be when we start actually breaking streaming records. That could be a prize. Win a bar crawl with Billy, which is nothing more than just walking from one end of Cottage Street to the
Right.
other.
Yeah, I'm right. And that's a friend of mine was playing a set Friday afternoon over at one of the breweries on the other side of town, and he was like, "Hey man, it's Food Truck Friday. Why don't you come out and catch my set?" And I was like, "Yeah, man, if you were playing on Cottage Street, I would, but there's really no reason for me to leave Cottage Street. If I just want to have beers, yeah, but yeah, friend of mine, he's a songwriter and plays bass in a touring band, and hey man, that's a good little segue back to music, and our old pal Charley Crockett's back in the news.
Okay, so for those who don't know, let's begin at the beginning. I'll do the recap quickly. About 6-7 weeks ago, Charley Crockett made a little news by canceling the booking of a band to open like 2 nights for him. It wasn't even like canceling the whole. It was just 2 nights out of his tour.
Right.
And the band was called Twin Temple. Yep. They call themselves Satanic Doo-Wop. It's really satanic 50s rock and roll. They're a lot closer to rockabilly than to doo-wop.
Right.
They're
a really good band in a real tight niche, but they are good. I mean, their music's good. They're good performers. They're talented. Anyway, yeah.
But that satanic thing is not a gimmick. They are actually members of the Church of Satan, and Charley said, "No, thank you. I don't do Satanism." And he called them out on a tour.
He said something like, "What in tarnation? I had no idea. Not today, Satan. Not on my watch." And I was insane. I love that the fans keep saying, "Who writes his fucking pieces for him?" Yosemite Sam.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all right. So Jack White steps in and says to Twin Temple, "You can open my show at the LA Bowl, at the Hollywood Bowl," which, great gig. They got a little publicity. They got some TV appearances. The whole thing blew up in Charley Crockett's face a little bit, but that was a month ago. Everything had died down. Until this week.
Right.
Charley Crockett just started posting some batshit crazy stuff, changing his entire story. I didn't cancel them because they were satanic. They had production issues. We couldn't accommodate their production demands for the tour. They got paid, so I don't know what the big deal is. And then he started attacking Jack White. He called him Old Hoss, driving around in his Lamborghini.
Right. And again, man, I read that thing and it's kind of like a guilty pleasure. First of all, man, I had never heard of Charley Crockett until this happened. So yeah, all press is good press. I didn't know anything about his music. I'd never heard of Twin Temples. I had heard of Jack White, of course. But again, man, his rants are just getting rantier, man. I mean, he sounds like somebody with bipolar that's off his fucking meds, man.
A month after everything had died down and he was beginning to come through the other side, he revives it again. And all of a sudden, he does so in a way that makes everyone question his sanity. The first post was deleted after a day. The second post came up and directly attacked Jack White. Jack White fought back. Now they are locked in a very bitter public feud, fighting over the honor of a band nobody had heard of.
Of a satanic rockabilly doo-wop band.
not even a month ago, no one had heard of them. And now, one super major rock star and someone who was on the way up and is now stalled and clearly on the way down because any hope he had of becoming big in Nashville is now gone. Charley Crockett shot himself in the foot there.
You know, reading, and again, man, I'm kind of ashamed that I'm following that, but at the very least, really embarrassed. I still hadn't heard any of his music. I mean, the controversy or whatever the hell you want to call it, that's kind of overshadowed. Well, should I go check him out? Well, let's see what else he's gonna say first.
I had listened to the most recent Charley Crockett album in the car one day before this all blew up, and I was like, yeah, it's okay.
That's,
it was not. It was not great. It was not terrible.
From people I know that do listen to him, because yeah,
it's
this too.
fairly standard. It's fairly standard traditional country. It's not overproduced like the stuff out of Nashville.
Right.
But it is not. It doesn't have the same soul as, like, say, Outlaw or Red Dirt country.
Well, right, and or even any of the, more alt cowpunk shit, man.
Yeah, definitely none of that. I didn't pick up any of that vibe.
Yeah, so it's that's
what I find so unhinged about Charley Crockett's rants is that he is taking this time to really overemphasize his origin story. I was caught busking, and I was found busking in New York, playing old time New Orleans music. I was hopping trains. I was doing this. I was doing
all that bullshit, man. Yeah, I guarantee, and God, that use of language, man. Whereas, when his rant to Jack, you may put 6 in me, big hoss. What the fuck's he even talking about, man? But I don't have any idea what it means. I mean, yeah, obviously it's a gunfighter thing, but I mean, look, man, in Texas is a backward fucking place to live, but we don't gunfights like that, man.
Are you sure about that?
Meth houses and shit, like, and occasionally some deranged cracker man shoots up a fucking school, but I mean, there's no high noon kind of stuff. That don't happen, man. I don't know, man. It sounds to me like, and again, man, fuck, I don't know anything, but what it sounds to me like is Charlie's started believing his own fucking press releases, man. And every
here's the thing.
Story has to have it's got to have some basics in the truth, and then parts of it you fluff up and embellish a little bit to make it seem more interesting. But I mean that parody thing I wrote for you yesterday, man. That's what he sounds like, man. It's all over the fucking place, man.
You and I both believe that this whole thing started out as a publicity stunt and a signal to corporate Nashville, I'm ready to play ball.
Right. It was his version of try that in a small town, or whatever the thing is. Look, man, Nashville, I understand to be to hit the celebrity train and all that shit, man. I've got to appeal to who you sell music to, and that is largely conservative rural America. And man, and Satanism don't go around me. But again, man, he already knew the guys. They share a fucking producer, and and you said they don't just pretend to be Satanists. They really are, but they're not Satanists like the Satanic Panic shit. I believe they're both involved with the Church of Satan, which the Church of Satan, they don't believe in any entities, man. They don't even believe in a supernatural Satan. they're really kind of like libertarians, man.
They do believe in wearing black and having orgies.
They, yeah, but I mean, hell, so do so does the Catholic Church, just with small boys.
We are really stepping in it today.
And hell, for that matter, the Southern Baptist aren't. How many of them guys has been arrested, man? I mean, for trafficking children and shit.
Well, yes. It's a fair point,
And
right?
apparently,
But
orgies are okay as long as you don't invoke the name of Satan in there anywhere.
on this point, I've got to say the Satanists have the better position. Orgies are okay as long as you don't involve children.
Right? Yeah. No, I'm totally on board with that, man.
And for the record, one of Twin Temple's songs, and I actually think it's a fun one to listen to, is called "Let's Have a Satanic Orgy."
Yeah. Right. That was. Yeah. That. Just good, clean fun among consenting adults. But yeah, that thing with Charlie, man, I don't know. I think he read his press releases too much, man. He started buying into his origin story more than is really there, and I told you, man, I fully expect next time him to talk about when he was on a cattle drive and all that shit.
What really gets me about this is that Nashville is really in a weak state in terms of the creativity coming out of official corporate Nashville.
Right, but
Right,
that's by
right.
design.
No, I know, but they could definitely have used an infusion of fresh ideas, and this was his attempt to be that infusion, and it bit him in the ass.
Yeah, just the way he handled it. I mean,
And
it
I
feels
don't
to me
think
like he manufactured a thing that then he could be outraged about and pretend to be a white hat, and I'm standing up for God and Jesus and my mama and my trailer park and all that bullshit, and Satan, not today, Satan, and Satan doesn't have.
and make no mistake, if I were to rate Charley Crockett and Morgan Wallen, who is right now the biggest country artist in the world, Charlie is way above him. Oh God, Morgan Wallen is most famous for using the N-word.
Oh yeah, that's a good one too, man.
Yeah, and
Because it's his heritage.
I can't remember what he said to get himself out of it, but he plays football stadiums.
Yeah, well,
Right.
So does Zach Brown, man.
Oh God. And of course, now Zach Brown, whom I've never given a second thought to, is my most hated person every week because he does the Sunday Night Baseball theme, which is an Emerson, Lake and Palmer cover we've talked about. Oh God, it's so fucking awful.
Hey Charlie, how bad is it, man?
How bad is it? I would rather listen to the Randy Macho Man Savage song from 1996, where he takes up rapping.
Yeah, why did any of them think that was a good idea, man?
That is a fair question, and I don't have an easy answer to it.
Didn't Hulk Hogan, before he took his dirt nap, didn't he do a record or something?
Hulk Hogan had a single and had absolutely no involvement in the actual recording. It's just him playing a guitar in the video and lip syncing. I am a real American.
Yeah, see, and it's too bad he's dead, because Nashville could take it and run with that.
The music in wrestling has gotten better. I will say that.
I might could even get on board with a Hulk Hogan type wearing a big cowboy hat.
Do they have any Western coded guys?
Man, I hadn't watched.
There is one guy wrestling in AEW. His name is Hangman Adam Page, Diamond Dallas DDP, Diamond Dallas Page's son, and his gimmick is slightly cowboy coded. Slightly. He's not a big yeehaw kind of guy, but
I hadn't watched wrestling since, I mean, before I was a teenager. Now,
the
I knew who a fair amount of the wrestlers were in the '80s because that's when it kind of exploded and became a real, you know, major force in American culture and Americana, and they were doing Pepsi commercials and shit like that. So I knew who a lot of them were, but I didn't watch any of it.
indie folk rock band The Mountain Goats
Good name.
have very good name. They have an entire concept album about wrestling.
Oh
I'm
well,
trying to
that's
It's it's called Beat the Champ, and it has songs like Southwestern Territory, because the whole thing is a concept album about West Texas professional wrestling in the 70s. It's very niche. The Legend of Chavo Guerrero, Foreign Object, Animal Mask, Choked Out, Heel Turn 2, Stabbed to Death Outside San Juan,
was
the
that
Ballad of the Ballad of Bull Ramos.
nothing in there about the Von Erichs?
Not a particular song about them. I think they show up in the lyrics at some point.
Well, in all
But
the
it's really
that was after the '70s. But their father, Fritz Von Erich, Iron Claw. I watched him when I was 12, man.
yeah. The Von Erichs worked the East Texas side, the Houston circuit. This album is mostly about the Southwest El Paso side,
Okay.
which has a lot of Mexican wrestling influence, a lot of luchador influence.
Like Pepper Gomez and shit like that.
Yep. Chavo Guerrero jumping off the top rope.
Yeah. And you like wrestling because you say for it's just the equivalent of the old time melodramas that they used to perform on the theater stage they were the equivalent of, I don't know, pulp
That
visual
plus
entertainment that, the melodrama, the acting was terrible, the stories were hokey. All of it was contrived, but it was fun to watch. And
I
you say that same thing about wrestling. That it
I haven't watched much this year since WWE switched to a different subscription model. I'm not going to pay them any money because they're really their parent company is really awful people politically.
right,
But I love wrestling for the sheer theatricality of it,
right.
and
Yeah,
it's
me and you
it's
had a
legitimate.
discussion about this one time.
It's genuine athleticism. It's scripted,
Right,
right? No one is trying to hurt each other, but you get hurt every match, and it is the perfect metaphor to understand what our politics is like these days.
yeah,
Because you've got good guys and bad guys.
Yeah,
You got good guys, and most importantly, you've got bad guys who think they're the good guys.
right. You got your heels, you got your baby faces, yeah, and like wrestling, they you got the ones that the anti-heroes that flip back and forth over the line.
And you look at someone like Donald Trump, who is full of bombast and full of theatricality and full of just making shit up. And his fans love him, and they are fans. They
Yeah.
are not followers in the political sense. They are
No.
fans.
No, I would bet probably 35-40% of his supporters, man, never voted until he showed up. And when he's gone, they'll go back to not voting.
I absolutely believe that um, a large number of Trump voters explicitly like the idea that he says all the racist and terrible shit that they think.
Right. Well, and again, and it's to them, it's a whole bunch of complex. I mean, not to them. You're talking about a bunch of complex stuff, and he's melted it down to good guy, bad guy. You know.
Yeah.
And they like that. They like a clear line, and they like and they're okay with people switching back and forth. What was the wrestling team? The Freebirds. I can't remember their names, but they were guys that worked both sides of the heel baby face. They weren't ever really baby faces, but they'd have an arc for a while where they were the white hats, and then they would flip back. And
if you ask me, the archetype of the good guy who acts like a bad guy is Stone Cold Steve Austin.
See, I don't. Again, by the time he was anybody, he was like him and Undertaker, and I was old enough that I didn't see them even in passing in any kind of media because I didn't watch the kind of media that they were. I didn't watch MTV or.
Stone Cold became huge by being an enemy, not a hero. He became an enemy to the real villain when Vince McMahon was playing himself as essentially a version of himself, as the corporate billionaire owner of WWE, which he really was in real life. Fans loved it when Stone Cold would come out of the back and do heel stuff against the villains, right? So he would take a steel chair to Vince McMahon's head. He would cheat and just completely disregard the rules to beat up on the guys that everybody hated. And he was the first real true anti-hero in wrestling who was a good guy who acted like the bad guy.
Right. The wrestler I was trying to think of was Terry Gordy, and he was mostly a bad guy and fought with the Von Erichs, and when they were the pretty golden family before most of them committed suicide because they had horrible mental health issues and terrible crippling addictions. But
have you seen The Iron Claw, that movie about the Von Erichs?
No.
Oh my God, you absolutely should.
I'm guessing it's dark and ugly.
It can be very, very, very depressing. Their father was super.
Was something in their childhood because like 3 of them committed suicide, right?
1 drugs, 2 suicide. Only one avoided that fate. Their father was just deeply abusive and perfectionist, and I mean, on the one hand, made them some of the most amazing wrestlers of their day, but on the other hand, drove them to the point of complete and utter desperation and mental breakdown.
Right. Well, Terry Gordy had a running feud with them, and then at some point, the Von Erichs were fighting some real villain, and Terry Gordy did the thing you said, man. He jumped in and total cheap shot and all this stuff, but on the side of the good guys. And in politics now, we have John Fetterman for that.
Yeah. He turned out to be a heel. He ran as a progressive and turned out to be anything but.
yeah, he's not that far removed from a MAGA guy, and all of his early support, man. I mean, they hate his guts, and they can't wait to primary him in
And
2 years. And
I'm one of them. I voted for the guy twice.
right for lieutenant
Never again.
governor, and then yeah. So no, you make a really good point that you said it kind of mirrors our current politics. I would say what's happened is our current politics has used professional wrestling as a schematic, man, of hey, let's make politics like this, and we'll get more people.
Yeah, I can see that.
And you really, I mean, and if you think about it, of course that's a conservative line. Credible polls show that majority of progressive ideas and policies would be hugely popular. Okay, so you can't run on. I mean, they can't run on what they actually want to do because hell, nobody supports that. So you divvy everybody into teams, and you say, okay, our team, we're the real good guys, and the other team, they're the bad guys, and yeah, and it really is a lot like, yeah, I don't have to watch wrestling, man. I can just watch Meet the Press.
It's pretty much exactly that. The other thing about being a heel in wrestling is that you always believe your own bullshit. Right?
Like Charley Crockett.
Like Charley Crockett, like Donald Trump. Obviously, I'm not comparing Charley Crockett to Donald Trump in any other way. I doubt he's likely to have quite the same body count. But
right.
And when I say body,
right, but he also didn't have that kind of money to bat around. He was hopping freights and going on cattle drives and shit.
If and you believe that, I'm sure somebody does. You can't really hop a freight train anymore.
Not really. I mean, I looked that up after I read that, and there is still a small contingent of people that are able to hop freights. But man, it's fucking minuscule, and it's not anything like you've been told it is in the movies. They don't hang out at the train yard and then run along and jump up in a boxcar, man. They know when the train is stopped. They know which cars are safe to ride in. And the thing I read, it said most of the deaths are from college kids trying to do it as a thrill because it seems like it would be fun, and they don't know what they're doing, and they fuck up, and they'll jump in a car that's not safe. And there's a thing they call the slack, and that's the back and forth push and pull, and they fuck around and they're not paying attention, and they get a big jarring thing and falls off. And another leading cause of death, man, and this is so fucking depressing, involving trains like that, not crashes, heroin overdoses. They find people on the train that have died, and they've died from heroin overdose.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, neither did I, because that wouldn't have been on my radar anywhere.
Damn.
But, drugs are bad. You should just say no to drugs.
Thank you, Nancy Reagan.
Yeah. Yeah. But, we've kind of devolved here into wrestling and politics. But
that's okay. Not every single one of these episodes is going to be a winner.
Well, I don't know that this won't be interesting, but, I'm going to say this about conservative thought. My issue with it is it doesn't take into account the complexity of fucking issues. Conservatives like a simple 1-2 solution to something, man. So, and they never seem to think 10 steps down the road, if you do this, what's going to happen next? You know, what's the fallout going to be? What's a ripple effect? And they don't ever think about shit like that, you know? And, but yeah. And
see, I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's fair to say to call Trump supporters conservatives anymore. They've gone past conservatism into outright fascist reactionary. Take us back to the very old days.
But that's us applying a political lens. Let's pull the political lens off of it for a minute. There's conservative thinkers that are not Republicans. I mean, they're not. I mean, they will vote. They will vote for AOC. They will vote for Mom Donnie. When they directly apply their intellect, they go, oh no, man, I'm a progressive Democrat. But they still have they still have an over-enlarged fear section of their brain, man, and the things that are their issues, that even if it's not politics, they're driven a lot by fear and they're driven a lot by suspicion, and they like simple 1-2 solutions. And I see that where I live, where, man, I mean, as you know, I live in a very liberal place. The population here is it's way left, and not like Southern Democrat left. I mean, but there are people among this population that still, they think things in a conservative way, not their politics, but everything else, and I think it all starts with victimhood mentality, man. So if I was at the bar the other day and listened to a guy that was bitching because he got a ticket. Well, you know why he got a ticket? He was fucking speeding. It's real simple. But he had worked it out to where it wasn't his fault. He was late. Didn't the cops have anything better to do? Wasn't it? Man, just pay the fucking ticket. You were speeding and you got caught. And as a psychologist, man, I can say that is sort of a mode of thought that has nothing to do with politics. Now, most people that think that way are conservative Republicans because the Republican Party fans that shit of be scared of Mexicans, be scared of women, be scared of satanic imagery because you're kids, and they're susceptible to being afraid of shit. So anyway, and we can button that up. Want to talk about the New York Jets?
Really don't. In fact, I think that's probably a good time to wrap this up. We've covered a lot of ground today, and I'm not going to lie, this is not a clean episode. I got some editing work to do.
Yeah, I'm sure, man. It's going to be awesome, though.
I hope so. Anyway, until next week, he said very loudly. I'm watching. The software we use has a live audio meter, and I'm watching myself go into the red every time. So until next week, I'll quiet it down. I'm Charlie Thomas.
And I'm Billy Eli. And y'all been hanging out with us at the Cosmic Gas Station.
Why did I pick up my remote to end the show? Like if I just hit, click, that'll pause it. No, I got to do this.
Operant condition.
Something like that.
Talk
to you later.
Dogs kind of thing. When you're going to stop something, you pick up the remote and turn it off. It used to just be your TV. Now that controls the lights in my office.
Yeah, the thing is, my remote only controls the TV, and I still picked it up to end the show. Anyway, have a good week, everybody.
See you later, man.